my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white. Yeah, it's black and white. We're just black and white. It's my black and white. It's my black and white scarf.
Hello, you're very hello, and you're very welcome to the Townhead podcast. Even it is season 5, episode 13. Unlucky for some and unlucky for Dundalk tonight as they come away at a 0-0 draw in the Midlands, when what proved to be another frustrating game. Right there to someone who had the unfortunate maybe to go through and see this whole match tonight. I'm joined by Steph. Steph, how are you?
Tired. Yeah, all good, all good.
It wasn't one for the purist tonight.
No, it was a bit of a difficult watch. Not many clear-cut chances or much to get excited about, unfortunately, tonight.
Steph, we thought we called this perfectly. You know, we praised Andy Paraschiff last week, that all of a sudden Andy Paraschiff is in the starting lineup for tonight alongside Wardy. Were they two changes you kind of seen coming?
Yeah, well, we'd spoken about it last week that we thought, you know, after Parashev's cameo last week, that he definitely deserved his chance in the starting 11. And yeah, I think that was pretty much what we'd maybe not expected, what we'd sort of hoped for. Wardy has sort of been coming in and out of the starting lineup. He came on last week again, but probably that was probably more surprising than Parashev starting, to be honest with you. I don't think Wardy's clicked into gear just as yet of what he can do. I suppose we're hoping that, you know, at some stage he can start unlocking some of these defences. They seem to be sitting in banks of 4 and even 5 at the back or 5 in midfield at times. So look, it's up to us to sort of break teams down. And you know, the last couple of weeks, well, the last 7 matches, we've not scored in the first half, so we've not really been coming out of the blocks quick enough, or teams are just setting up better against us, and we're just really struggling to break them down. And I know we got 3 in Longford last week. Yeah, this night has fought about 3 years on me, never mind 1. I'll start losing my hair soon, I'd say. But yeah, like, look, it's up to, like, we're the league leaders, we're the big name in the division.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to you know, find ways to break these teams down. And look, if we go ahead in these games 9 times out of 10, we'll go and win a game. But you know, we've just struggled to really break teams down, especially in the first half, and then that gives them something to hold on to. But
yeah,
at no stage tonight you just thought the big chance was going to come. It looked like the clock was just raining down.
Maybe it was the camera angle.
Yeah, the camera angle. He's lying on the ground to try and look to see what was happening, and it was crazy. It was crazy at times, and there was some wild shouts from the commentators. Gally and Pingu would have loved some of the shouts. You had Happy Gilmore and everything when Billy Gilmore come on. Jesus, there was some shouts going on. But yeah, that was probably one of the highlights of the match, was the commentators' comments.
Like in the first half of probably very few chances, it seemed like we settled in early, kind of got a couple of crosses in or whatever, but probably the injury to Harry Groom is probably the real big concern in that first half.
Yeah, I think it is a big concern because, you know, he's been the creative spark in the middle. He's the link man between getting the ball off the defenders and creating chances and creating attacks. And yeah, it's hopefully it's a precautionary one more than something more serious. He's obviously going to be a miss. He was a miss tonight for for the 60 odd minutes he missed, and obviously, it's a double blow. Probably Devon picking up a silly yellow, which gets him suspended for Bray, and look, they were coming to Dundalk next week on the back of winning 7 in a row up until tonight, so mightn't be a bad thing that they've lost against Cove to just knock their confidence a little bit. But yeah, you're sort of scratching your head going, who's going to fill the void? You'd probably possibly think O'Keefe comes in, but then who's going to fill in a right full then, because Devon has been doing that anytime O'Keefe's missed out. So yeah, look, there's a couple of headaches, like 2 starters when they're fully fit. Possibly, I don't know the situation with Groom, but Devon's definitely missing, so you're going to have somebody replace him. So
it's only a rejig the whole middle of the park then, isn't it? Like, because
we don't have obviously
like Harry Groom, like.
Yeah, Parashev and Hogan's been sort of drifting in and out, and then you've had Gaxa on the wing or in the 10 as well. But yeah, look, for a 6 and an 8, yeah, it's gonna be Kieran Goluff's gonna have a wee bit of a think about that one, see what way he's gonna approach that for Bray on Friday night.
Could it be something we see Shane Tracy coming in again?
Yeah, possibly. I think he started the match anyway, which
started the Longford at home that time, yeah.
Yeah, Longford at home. So yeah, like, it is a home game, which will be slightly more in our favour. I think if it was away from home, then you might be trying to just go and try and hold. But yeah, he's shown a lot of energy. When he's come in, he's decent on the ball as well. So yeah, look, I know he's young, but you're sort of, that's the negative of having a small, I know it's a tight knit squad, but it's light on numbers, and when you miss 1 or 2 players, then you're sort of really having a few headaches. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what way he goes with it. With Tracy's more of an aid of box to box midfielder, so you're still missing that holding player. So yeah, I suppose that'll be one for him to work out during the week, see what way he's going to do it for next Friday.
I suppose in a game of very few chances, I lost count of where we were on the corner count at one stage. We must have been into double figures anyway, were we?
Yeah, I think it said, well, you were sort of seeing them racking up, but I think it was 11 at the end, and I don't think Athlone had a corner, so you're just hoping.
We've seen set pieces though before, Steph, be kind of real crucial first. Seen Vinnie Leonard pop up with a few from corners, and obviously the first goal last week in Longford as well is a header at the back post by Leonard, recycled back in, and Dean Ebbe gets in and score. So to have 11 and not be able to register a goal, that'll probably really, really disappoint Kieran and Ken tonight.
Yeah, and it's obviously something that was worked on in pre-season and as the season went on, because yeah, we have scored from corners and set pieces, and yeah, Athlone seemed to defend them reasonably well, but some of the deliveries probably, could have been a whole lot better as on top of that. So probably a mix of both, with no real clear-cut chances from the corner. So yeah, look, I'd say that's one where, when it's easy to look at stats, but when you see 11-0 in corners, you're sort of saying, surely we've either created to get the corner or will create a chance from the corner, and it just never came to fruition in that sense. But yeah, look, I think it's probably an old saying, but you can go to the well on so many times. You wouldn't want to be heavily relying. You don't want to be heavily relying on set pieces, and you want to be creating those chances from open play as well. But it's obviously, look, down the years, we've had plenty of defenders who can come up and score from corners, and Leonard's had a couple already this season. I suppose Mayo will be looking to chip in as well. So, just not tonight, unfortunately.
Like from, having chance after chance, and it's just a cross into the box, and there's some skirmishes around, but the game for me really lacked some real clear cut chances. And you're probably looking for, especially after last week, the likes of Dean Ebbe getting on. When we think how me and you kind of really bigged up the performance, and in particular the play in that second goal between Groom, Parashif, Horgan, and Dean Ebbe. That spark was just missing tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just seemed like a pass short, or it just seemed like, for me, the build up, and I know they were sitting in, so it afforded us to have the ball in front of them, and they were happy enough for us to do that. But the build up play was just little bit slow, I thought. With the wingers we sort of have, the talent we have, you think you'd be going, like, sort of trying to go direct to the wing, and then get our fullbacks, try and get in behind, get quality crosses into the box, and it was just an extra pass when sometimes you just have to take, like, if a midfielder putting 5 or 6 through balls in, like, they're all not going to come off. If 2 or 3 of them come off, that's better than having 10 passes. Sideways or backways. For me, you'd need to have that cutting edge, and it just seemed like, I don't know if we were being cautious, or the movement wasn't there. I don't know if it's a hard one to put your finger on, and when you don't see the full picture, you're obviously just following a ball most of the time, and you can only see what's in camera shots. So it just seemed a bit lethargic, maybe. The build up just was a bit safe, and we've probably talked about the lack of goals. I think 13 games in, we've 20 goals, I think. So it's not a massive amount for a team that's top of the league. You're probably looking, saying, they must be the top goal scorers. Obviously, we've kept a lot of shutouts as well, so clean sheets and teams not scoring many against us. But yeah, look, you'd like to think we'd create more chances and score more goals.
Yeah, look, it's definitely something that is frustrating a couple of the fans. We have been clinical in the sense that we've probably done so well in the small amount of chances that we take, and we're quite clinical in those. But in nights like tonight, then, when we're not maybe creating enough of those real key chances, it comes back to bite us, and we haven't been able to take all the points. Are you disappointed as well, Steph, that there probably hasn't been a game? Like, I felt that there's been one or two times this year where I really want to see us kick on, and maybe you don't want to sound like you're any sort of a complex or superiority to anyone else in this league, but I felt it was teams that we probably could have gone on and gone 4 or 5 goals in. That time in Bray in particular, that first half they seemed really poor. I thought, God, we could rack up anything here against these, and we haven't really kicked on in that way. Now, as I say, when it gets down to a game that's maybe those key chances are a little bit harder to come by, or we're just not creating as many clear-cut key opportunities, we're finding it very hard to break teams down and get those important wins. It's something that everyone has kind of said is that being really clinical and creating something. Is there just something missing the odd night that we're seeing? I know we talk about in this division, it seems like everyone is just sitting and defending against us, and it's extremely hard to break down. And like, we're nearly at the stage of just repeating ourselves every week, saying another team hard to break down, another team that sat in, another team that just wanted to play on the break. Like, they're all doing it against us, but now they're doing it, when they're at home sometimes as well. It's proven to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, and once one of the teams obviously gets a bit of joy from it, then other teams are going to be looking at it going, what did they do? And can we sort of mimic it to try and get a result? Obviously, if teams are going to open up against us, then there will be more chances. And you just, the way they were sitting in, I was just watching it coming up to the last 15 minutes or so, and they actually didn't even have anyone up front. It looked like a back five and a five across the middle, with Conley sort of, being an out ball running from midfield. Just lumping balls around, going out to the left hand side to that Gideon Tete, I think you call him. He looked lively enough at times when he got all on the ball, even though it was limited. But you're just sort of saying, just maybe take a bit of a rest, take a bit of a chance, try and go and win the game. Sometimes it can be a bit like, I know we're unbeaten, and Jesus, I'd love if we went the season unbeaten, but sometimes it can be a monkey on your back where you're sort of saying, oh, we just, maybe we'll hold on for this 0-0 instead of risking and, conceding. And look, it could, at the end of the season, if we go unbeaten, and we win the league, and Kieran could love saying, oh, well, them 6 draws we got, if we had lost 2 of those, we might have ended up in the playoffs or whatever. And I'm sure, look, I'm nobody to be questioning Kieran. Pingood, give out to me, was a licensed buddy. But yeah, sometimes just as a fan, and when you're looking at it, you're just saying, you'd love to just take a few more risks, go for it, get the ball into the box with some quality and really attack it. Which just seemed like, we were, if the pass was to try and, make a cutting edge pass or keep it safe and retain possession, it just seemed like we were taking the safe option the whole time. So look, we're away from home, and a point away from home is always, once you don't lose the match. But just for me, I was looking at the last 10-15 minutes going, we're going to have a real go here. We seen Mikhail coming on, and I was thinking we possibly are going to go 3 at the back here, maybe 4 in midfield, and go 3 up top, and just, see if we can pin them in, and get quality balls up, get people around Ebbe, which seemed like we weren't doing as well. Like, I know I'd been critical of his hold-up play before, but in fairness, he was keeping it into him. But then when he was passing, he had to go, even when he was going to wingers, it was going back. It wasn't a ball around the corner where they could chase in. So yeah, little things like that, I'm sure they're going to be worked on during the week. I'm sure it's a constant education and learning. Obviously, Kieran's in his first role as senior manager in the men's side of things, so I'm sure he's learning and he's trying to figure out what's the best way of preparation and in-game management, everything along those lines. So if you're looking at it from the start of the season, would you take the position we're in a heartbeat? Sometimes you need a reality check like that.
Absolutely.
When you're going through and when you're going through and you're looking at the games, sometimes you're just saying, oh, come on, one wee bit more, and probably a victim of our own success, maybe not get too far ahead of ourselves as well. So yeah, and I know it might sound strange, but we don't always get it right in the podcast either, so we're not always right. I know we think we're always right,
but it's funny, Steph. Just when I have a look at the table, goals for Dundalk 20, Bray 20, Cove Ramblers 23, Treaty 20. I suppose the big difference is we've only conceded 6 goals all season. The rest are all 16, 12, 14 in the top 4 there. So we've, basically we've conceded half the amount of goals than any other team has. But that goal scored column is kind of just ticking along with those other teams around you. And you like that to be the difference, that clinical edge for ourselves. You'd like that to be the difference in particular these tight games like tonight.
Yeah. Look, someone said to me years ago, and it always stuck, that strikers win games and defenders win leagues. But Yeah, on the like, look, not always the best defense always wins the league as well. So yeah, you'd like to start picking the goals in as well. I thought after last week,
Mhm.
um, us, really having a strong second half and creating all those chances, goals started flowing in. You were just thinking, we're rolling into this Athlone game, have to be high on confidence. 3-0 win away from home, and you're obviously going away as well. And we all know Athlone were tipped to do good things on the at the start of the season, and it hasn't materialized for them either. But
Yeah.
we knew they had a strong enough squad, but you still like full of confidence to go down. I thought we go down and win 2-1 possibly. But look, we've kept a clean sheet, but the chances were at a minimum. So Mark asking about Minogue, and I don't know. There hasn't really been much talk. I heard a few whispers that he'd an operation on his hand, but
Mm.
um, not seen or heard much since. Obviously,
Yeah.
Cherry keeps another clean sheet tonight, but we had a bit of a hairy moment at the end when
Yeah. Yeah.
the ball went through and Mayo was left it and the striker flicks it, and he obviously dives, tries to get a penalty. But if that was on target, we were in big trouble, to be honest with you. Cherry punches one clear as well from across. He does okay from, so. But yeah, we're limiting teams to chances, but I think that's a lot to do with how they're setting up, and they're just trying to contain us and not limit us to having any chances as well. So
Yeah. Like you say, in a frustrating night, we have to search for the positives in these things, and that's the fact that we've actually opened up a lead tonight because of Cove beating Bray tonight. We actually, the point we earned tonight has actually opened that gap to Bray Wanderers now to 4 points, where it was previously 3. That now sets up these next 2 games. We were teeing it up last week, Steph, thinking, yeah, no, it's very important now. We got to come out unbeaten out of these games. Now it's kind of with probably we can still probably see it as maybe some drop points tonight, which really puts, in particular, this Bray match at home next Friday. That's so important now, isn't it?
yeah, it's massive. The world was going to be big, but the fact that we've dropped points now, and we've obviously opened up the 4 point lead on Bray, but Cove are probably sitting there in a nice position now. They've obviously their way to Wexford, which won't be a gimme either, but
No.
like they're probably looking going, if we can pick up another 3 points, Dundalk Bray is gonna drop points, and then or maybe both of us drop points if it's a draw, and they're probably sitting going, we're just getting ourselves in a nice wee position, and then obviously we've to go down to Cove. But look, I don't think anybody will be getting ahead of themselves. I think we'll just have to concentrate in the Bray game, see who is fit and available, and hopefully the crowd gets behind the boys, because obviously we've had 2 games in a row there where we're away from home.
Yeah.
The home form's going to be massive. Another big support. The away fans have been excellent. They've seen John Curtis and Dan Shields having a great time of it. They were saying they'd love to play every game away from home. They're having the time of their lives in this first division. But it's good to see the
Yeah.
buses full. I know Tony Curtis running the bus, and then the Shedside Army running the bus down, and look, they're always full, it seems. So boys having a great time at the away matches, and look, when we get back to Oriel now, hopefully there's a big crowd and cheer on some Dundalk goals.
From that 94-minute goal tonight to, that's a real blow, you would assume, for Bray. They've been on that winning streak. Now they've been hit with a late goal. Is it the right time to play them, or how do you feel?
Yeah, possibly could. I wouldn't like to play them if they had won 8 in a row, and they went ahead early. They went ahead early in that match tonight. So for Cove to get back in it and win from behind away from home won't have done Bray any confidence boosters at all. So yeah, hopefully they come down to Oriel a bit shaky, and even if they do go ahead, then hopefully, you know, the Dundalk lads will be thinking, well, look, Cove came back against them last week, and obviously we're at home, so hopefully the home crowd gets behind the boys and really cheers them on. Hopefully we don't concede at all, but yeah, look, I'm looking forward to getting back up to Oriel. It's always good to get it's always better for me when the bright evenings are in. They always love.
Yeah. You froze
Yeah,
there
I'm
for a
looking
second.
forward to getting back. We just froze, but yeah, nobody's watching anyway, so it's grand. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to Oriel and, you know, getting to see in the flesh after a couple of weeks away.
I know it's still early in the season, but it really does seem like, you know, that little bit of a gap that's there between, I suppose, Cove, Bray, ourselves, the fact that we're playing both those teams right below us, it kind of has set up for how potentially, like, I suppose if we can come out of this, like, is a win and a draw, it would be like, it's not the worst way to go. I know you'd want to be picking up wins everywhere, but tonight just proves that you can't always get the wins. So if you were to get a win in Oriel and a draw down in Cove, is that a job well done? No, he wants them all.
You can't. It's not my psyche to settle for draws and stuff like that. I don't know. When you look back, it'll probably be, if you picked up 4 points, you probably settle for it. Especially if we beat Bray, keep a bit of distance between us. Obviously, then the table will look a bit different if Cove win and that. But we just have to look after our own stuff. If we beat Bray and we beat them well next week, then you'll be saying, "Oh, we go down the Cove and we'll look to pick up the win." You won't be settling for no draws at that stage. But yeah, I don't even think anybody be looking at. I know we're sort of looking at these two as a wee mini game, in a mini league table, because we've created the distance between us and the rest. But yeah, look, I think Treaty and Wexford are a wee bit off the pace, but you know, a couple of wins under their belt and they're right back in the frame. So especially with us playing Bray and Cove, and obviously Cove and Bray played tonight as well. So we're all playing each other around the top end of the table, and look, it could work out very well for a couple of teams, or it could work out very very poorly for others. So hopefully we're on the right end of it.
I don't know, Jason. Jason's point there, he's just on the way home from the game, and thinks that perhaps we could do with another striker, and just to put Dean Ebbe under a bit more pressure. Hubin on loan? What? Wow! Imagine that.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy one, to be honest with you, wouldn't it? I don't know. I think we'd have to rob the credit union to get him back down, would we? Rob a few of them all.
Yeah, I think that could be a problem if we're struggling to pay for, what are we going to pay for when our pitch and lights coming? I don't know if there's room for Pat Hubin there too.
Yeah, see if we can get an FAI grant to get Pat Hubin back in the loan.
Maybe there's a record goal scorer grant that we just haven't tapped in on.
I have to get the boys to do a bit of research and homework on that one.
I think so. Come here, Seth. Look, we said we would just pop on tonight just to not, I suppose, let it run on. It was a night of not a whole lot of chances and a whole lot to kind of really delve into the game like we normally would. So it's probably more talking about the situation that we currently find ourselves in this. Couple of lads thrown in now for man of the match for Vinnie Leonard tonight. What are you thinking?
A couple of boys are getting hungry now. We're keeping them up late. They're
Could
trying to
Jason
get
be
the
back in time, or is this for tomorrow? I wonder.
yeah. He's trying to get the Saturday, the bank holiday, maybe bank holiday pizza in. But
Are you
yeah.
tempted?
Look, I think
Are you tempted to give it to him?
tempted. He's made the trip down as well. But yeah. Like, look, I think he's give the shout to Vinny. I don't think you could have any arguments with that. He's progressive with the ball. He's not really. I don't know if he's had any duels, to be honest with you, because they didn't really play a striker. But yeah, like, look, every time he plays, he sort of impresses you. I think there's one or two wee whispers of clubs being interested in him. But
That's
if
going to be the hard
if they're
part with himself
listening,
on cue.
if they if they're listening in, he's absolutely terrible. I don't know how he's starting. So
Yeah.
don't go anywhere, Vinny. Don't go anywhere yet. Or if you're going, we want about 3 million for you. If there's boys from Pats and Rovers getting sold in the millions, we want the millions as well. But yeah, like every time you watch him, he seems to advance himself by about 5 years experience every game he plays. He's been excellent. He's been so good.
Oh, Jason's
Good
playing
man,
the old
Tom.
kids card now.
I knew it wasn't from Jason anyway. He doesn't have a clue. Only messing, Jay. Only messing.
I think he's twisted
Yeah,
it
like
up.
look,
Might give Jason the El Pizza then.
go on. We give him the shot. We give him the shot.
There you go, Jason. Don't say
Uh,
we never done anything for you there. So there is a 15-inch pizza on us from Vinny and the lads there in Tony's Pizzeria on Park Street. So there's a 15-inch pizza there. So there you go. That'll make the bank holiday weekend taste a little sweeter.
yeah, a little bit back from traveling down to Athlone for 0-0.
There you go. But now you can be dreaming of the pizza the whole way home, at least. That's something. You may ring ahead.
Tom's pizza, not yours, Jason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Look, Steph, I don't think we won't do a late one. I still have to get home yet. So this weekend could be a long one otherwise.
Yeah.
As I said, it's nice that we have no game on the bank holiday Monday this time. It's the Premier Division has games this weekend, but not the First Division. So a little bit of a gap, and I suppose all week to work on one or two things for Ken and Kieran, you would say there to work on as well. So perhaps that's a good thing that you're not going straight back into the Bray match now. Maybe we'd be glad of a bit of work on the training pitch now during the week and try to find ways to work and break down this Bray team. But I think just after the draw tonight and Bray losing, I think it really, really sets that game up now to be a real clash of the table toppers in Oriel Park next Friday. So it's set up nicely for that. I think that's about us, Steph. Go and enjoy your bank holiday weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone go and enjoy it. Top of the table, 4 points clear. So we'll remain positive and happy. And come on to town.
My black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white scarf, my black and white, yeah, it's black and white, we're just black and white, it's my black and white, it's my black and white scarf.